Hello, welcome to Chapter 11, Lesson 9. Today we're going to be solving measurement problems. Just wanted to show you this little guy here where we have a number line between 0. Here is 1, because notice numerator and denominator are the same number. And then if we did 8 divided by 4, we'd get 2. So on our number line, this is where 1 would be. This is where 2 would be. Okay, so we cut each one into 4 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And so if we were going to add 3/4 and 5/4, we'd get 8/4 or 2. Right? Because 5/4 is 1 and 1/4. So anyways, we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions a lot today. So let's get started. The blue trail at the park is 3/4 mile long. The red trail is 1 1/4 mile long. Stella wants to hike both trails. How many feet will she hike in all? Okay, so first we're going to find the total number of miles. So I'm going to take 1 1/4 plus 3/4. Okay, so right here it shows how we're going to break apart and make 4/4 plus 1/4 because then we can get common denominators. Basically, we're circling up. 1 1/4, circle up. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 more is 5/4. They're doing it the other way where they break it apart, and they say, I'm going to change my 1 into 4/4 plus 1/4 to get 5/4. Whichever way you do it is A-okay with me. So then we have 5/4 plus 3/4. And then we would get 8/4, which, remember, if we do top divided by the bottom, 8 divided by 4 is just regular old 2. So here's a number line that kind of shows what we did there, right? So we took 3/4 plus 5/4 and ended at 8/4. And then like I did on the previous page, this is 1, this is 2. So we ended up at 2. Stella will hike 2 miles. Convert miles to feet. See, look at this. These are going to be tricky. I'm sure I'm going to make a mistake, so sorry if I do. But they gave us this in miles, and then it says how many feet will she hike. Like, what? That's tricky. So 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. So then 2 miles, we just have to multiply that by 2 to get 10,560 feet. 10,560 feet is how far she will go in all. Dominic weighed an apple and a watermelon. The apple weighed 5 ounces. The watermelon weighed 20 pounds. How many more ounces did the watermelon weigh than the apple? Okay, so 16 ounces equals 1 pound. So if I multiply 20 by 16, I'd get 320. Okay, the watermelon weighed 320 ounces. So we just converted our pounds to ounces. Now we have to subtract to find the difference, or how many more ounces. So 320 minus 5 is going to be 315. So the watermelon weighed 315 ounces more than the apple. All right, Stan has 4 pints of milk. Gianna has twice as much milk as Stan. How many fluid ounces of milk does Gianna have? All right, so first we're going to take 4 pints and multiply it by 2 to know that they have 8 pints. Gianna has 8 pints. So Gianna has 8 pints of milk. 8 pints times 16 ounces. Now, how do we know 16 ounces? So if we did our gallon little drawing, we know that each pint has 2 cups in it. And we know 1 cup equals 8 ounces. So 2 cups would be worth 16 ounces. Okay, so 8 times 16. 6 and 8 is 48. 8 and 1 is 8, plus 4 more is 12. So it'll be 128 fluid ounces. Gianna has 128 fluid ounces of milk. Number 2 here. Molly went to her grandma's house for 16 hours last night. Now, here's my tip last weekend. Underline the important stuff. Then when you're reading it again, that stuff will stick out and then it will help you to solve. Okay, so this was 4 times longer than she spent at her grandma's this weekend. So last weekend she went for 16 hours and 16 was 4 times this weekend. So if I were going to write that as an equation form, 16 is 4 times this weekend, T for this weekend. Okay. How many minutes was Molly at her grandma's house this weekend? See, if I breezed past that, I'd miss all this little information. So you got to slow down when you're reading these word problems. So 4 times what is equal to 16? We know 4 times 4 is equal to 16, right? A lot of kids would think, oh, I should just multiply 16 by 4. That's not the case. Okay, so that's why you really got to read things very carefully so you don't make these little mistakes. So anyways, 4 hours. Okay, and it asks how many minutes. So hours to minutes, I'm going to take 60 times 4. 4 times 6 is 24. So for 240 minutes, she was at her grandma's house this weekend. Okay, Melissa bought 2.5 gallons of orange juice to make punch. How many quarts of orange juice did Marissa buy? So we know in 1 gallon there are 4 quarts. Okay, how many quarts? So she bought 2.5 gallons. So if I draw my gallon, here's my second gallon. Now I have 8 quarts. Now if I bought half a gallon, that would be worth 2, right? Okay, so how many quarts did she buy? 4, 8, 9, 10. She bought 10 quarts. Where's my work? All right, here. Okay. Marissa bought 6 fewer pints of soda than orange juice. How many cups of soda did she buy? So we got to use the information we bought last time. Okay. So she bought 2.5 gallons of orange juice. So let's figure out how many pints are in 2.5 gallons of orange juice. So each one of these, let me choose a different color here, has pint, 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 pint. Oh gosh, this is going to take a while. I'll pause the video. Okay, so she bought 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 pints of orange juice. Okay, and it says she bought 6 fewer pints of soda than orange juice. Okay, so I should take away 6, figure out how many she bought of soda. So that would be 14 pints of soda. Okay, how many cups of soda did she buy? Now we know that there are 2 cups in every pint, so I just need to multiply this by 2 to get the number of cups. So I get 28 cups of soda. There we go. Okay, so Marissa pours 1.5 cups of punch. Marissa pours 1.5 cups of punch in each glass. How many fluid ounces is each serving? So this one we're just changing 1.5 cups. Cups equals blank fluid ounces. So we know that there's 8 ounces in 1 cup. So if I took my 1 here, that'd be worth 8. And then if I broke apart my half a cup, that'd be worth 4 fluid ounces, right? So how many fluid ounces is each serving? 8 plus 4 or 12 fluid ounces. 12 fluid ounces is each serving, right? Because we have 1 cup, which is worth 8 ounces, and half a cup worth 4 ounces. So I have to add them together to figure out how much 1.5 cups would be worth. Martin sorted the bolts in his toolbox by size. They measured 3/8 inch, 1/2 inch, 5/8 inch, 7/8 inch, and 1 1/4 inches. What is the difference in length between the longest bolt and the shortest bolt? Oh, we got some things to do here. So our longest one is obviously 1 1/4 inches because it has a whole number in the front, right? So that one's more than 1. All the other ones that don't have any numbers, any whole numbers in front of them, they're all less than 1. So our biggest is going to be 1 1/4 inches. And then our smallest is going to be 3/8 inches because they put it in order, right? Because 1/2 would be 4/8. 5/8, 7/8, 3/8 is going to be the smallest. So then I'm going to subtract 3/8. So if I put it on top of each other, 1 1/4 minus 3/8. First I need to get my common denominators because I can't take 1/4 minus 3/8. Can't do it. So, and then I'm going to have to ungroup. So I think what I'll do is I'll change 1 1/4 into an improper fraction. Let's do that way. So let's change 1 1/4. If I circle up, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 more is 5/4. So here we're really doing 5/4 minus 3/8. Okay, now you got to get common denominators. So I'm going to multiply by 2, multiply by 2. So now I'm doing 10/8 minus 3/8. Okay, that works. 10 minus 3 is 7, and 8 doesn't change. So the difference between the largest and the smallest is 7/8 inch, right? Don't forget that label. If you laid one of each size bolt end to end, how long would the row of bolts be? Okay, so now we're adding. So we're adding 3/8 plus 1/2. I'm going to write it as 4/8 because we need common denominators. Plus 5/8 plus 7/8 plus, I'm going to write my 1 1/4 as an improper fraction. So that was 5/4, but then to get 8ths, we did 10/8. So I'm just going to use that. Okay, now I just have to add all my numerators together and figure out, because my denominator is going to be 8. So I have 7, and 7 is going to make 14. 14 and 5 is going to make 19. 19 and 10 is going to make 29/8. Now to change it back into a mixed number, I'm going to do top divided by the bottom. Okay, 29 divided by 8 is going to be 3, and that would be 24, and I have 5 left over. So remember, here's the numerator, here's the denominator, and that's always the case. So it would be 3 5/8 inches long. And 3 5/8 is between 3 and 4. It's going to be a little more than a half. This would be where 3 5/8 would be, between 3 and 4 inches. All right, let's keep working. If you laid 16 bolts that each measure 7/8 inch end to end, how many feet long would the row of bolts be? So here we have inches to feet. So first we have to figure out what is 16 times 7/8. Okay, I'm noticing I can simplify. I can divide by 8 to get 1, and divide by 8 to get 2. Okay, so here, if I multiply numerators, 2 times 7, I'm going to get 14, and 1 times 1, I'm going to get 1. So it's going to be 14 inches. If I laid 16 bolts that are 7/8 inch long, end to end, okay, but it wants to know how many feet. Okay, so if I'm going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, I need to divide. So I need to do 14. There's 12 inches in 1 foot divided by 12. So I'm going to subtract, or I know that's 1, subtract 12. And I have 2 left over. Okay, so 1 and there's 2 inches left over, but it wants the answer in feet, so we're going to write it as a fraction. So numerator is 2, denominator is 12, and then I can simplify 2 twelfths. Divide by 2 to get 1/6. So it'll be 1 and 1/6 feet. It would be how long it would be. Okay, let's go to the next one. Aurora has lived in her current house for 6 years. Okay, Mitch has lived in his current house for 1,460 days. Which student has lived in their current house longer? And it doesn't tell us what our answer has to be in, so let's change 6 years to days. 365 times 6. Now remember what I said. We know that, oh, well, there would be a leap year in there. Or, well, there's actually 365.2524, I remember what it was, days in a year. Let's be exact. Now, yes and no. Okay, when you take standardized tests, when you take the ACT to get into college, they're going to have you use 365 days. That's like the common conversion rate. So I get where you're coming from, but I want to prepare you to be successful. And so as a blanket statement, we use 365 days in a year. So let's get our multiplication out. 6 and 5 is 30. 6 and 6 is 36. Plus 3 more is 39. 6 and 3 is 18. Plus 3 more is 21. Okay, so Aurora has lived in her house for 2,190 days. And Mitch has lived in his house for 1,460 days. So who has lived longer? Aurora has lived longer. How much longer? Let's subtract. See how much longer? 11 minus 4 is 7. Okay, by 730 days. All right, here we have question 8. Use math tools. Nolan bought 26 yards of heavy-duty rope at the hardware store. The rope costs $2 per foot. So for 1 foot, $2. How much did Nolan pay for the rope? Okay, so notice 26 yards, $2 per foot. So first we need to figure out how many feet did he buy. So we're going yards are larger to smaller. So I need to do 26 times 3 to figure out how many feet, because there's 3 feet. 3 feet equals 1 yard. Okay, so 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 more is 7. So he bought 78 feet of heavy-duty rope. Now I know that the rope costs $2 for 1 foot, so I just need to multiply 78 times 2. 16. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 more is 15. So he spent $156 on his rope. Let's ask for an explanation. Here's my work for my explanation. All right, test practice. Kim and her 2 brothers. Now they like to do this. How many people are there? 3. Kim and her 2 brothers. Okay, I don't know that it makes sense with this, but I just want to make sure that we're reading things carefully, because kids always see that 2 brothers. So if it's saying how many ounces did each person get? And it's like, oh, well, there's only 2 people. No, there were 3, Kim and her 2 brothers. So anyways, they each use 1.5 cups of milk for breakfast. How many fluid ounces of milk do they use in 4 days? So yeah, it does matter. So 1.5 cups of milk equals how many fluid ounces? Okay, so we've already done this, right? The 1 cup is worth 8 fluid ounces. The half a cup is worth half of 8, which is 4. So it's going to equals 12 fluid. Why do I always make that a T? Feet. That's because I'm used to writing feet. Fluid ounces. So we know that there are 12 fluid ounces here in what that one person uses. So let's figure out how many does 3. So multiply by 3 and get 36 fluid ounces for 1 day. Okay, how many would they use in 4 days? Let's multiply that by 4. 6 and 4 makes 24. 4 and 3 makes 12. Plus 2 more is 14. So it would be 144 fluid ounces, which is option A. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.